This beach is called Divorce Beach, right?
Propose to someone right here. How cute is
What?
that?
Wait, what?
Will you marry me?
Yeah.
We're at a place called Divorce Beach, though. How funny is that? What if someone's headed here right now to like propose, but then we like shuffle the rocks around, just say, you have a nice ass. I wonder if he knows that if you go 30 feet that way, then it's like Lover's Beach. Can't wait till drones are strong enough to just like pick us up. I'll be like, I'll meet you guys up there. See ya. Zoom. And then I get a battery failure. All right, so we're doing this little adventure to test out new anamorphic lens by Moment. Should be pretty cool. Dan's a professional drone pilot here in Cabo, and he's showing us the best spot to fly a drone. If you guys felt how windy it was up here, you'd be a little sketched out too. Don't fall doing that in flip-flops. It's a little windy up here. Think we're good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, so we have our Mavic 2 Pro right here. I believe we just first start off by taking off this thing here.
Oh, I saw a whale breach.
What?
Out there.
Carrie just saw a whale breach. We didn't even have to go on those whale watching tours. We could just come up here. Oh my God, look, I just got stuck by a cactus. Anyways, it comes in 2 pieces. You got your lens here, and then this is like a counterweight. Probably should try this once in the hotel room. Oh, there we go. Installation, piece of cake, sort of. So now we're just running it through a gimbal auto calibration. So hopefully this works. I think the big thing is that you just have to turn on the drone and have the gimbal on while you attach the lens. It seems like it's working fine now, so hell yeah. That's actually pretty dope. It has an anamorphic look to it. It is crazy windy up here. Just trying to hover, it's like sideways. Does it look pretty epic?
Whoa, something happened with the lens.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's too heavy.
I think it's the combination of the
wind.
intense wind pushing on that gimbal, but yeah,
Yeah.
the gimbal's just like facing downward now.
Yeah.
I think we might need to test this again at a less windy place. Oh, it's trying to fix itself.
It came back alive, the gimbal.
Gimbal's back?
Yeah.
All right, cool. The wind is definitely messing with the drone a little bit. Strong wind. Yeah, I know. I do wish I could put an ND filter on there because it's pretty bright. The downside is that the Polar Pro ND filters that I currently own don't work with this Moment anamorphic lens, but Moment makes their own ND filters that attach on top. The gimbal does occasionally do a little bit of da-da-da-da, but when you get the shot, it's pretty cool. Ooh, yeah. I see that little flare, the stun flare kind of comes in. You want to go stand on that ledge and risk your life for the shot? All right, here we go. It's interesting because it has almost a certain softness to it, which is actually not a bad softness. Like it kind of takes away a little bit of that super digital sharpened look that you get out of a Mavic usually. You should go give Dan a follow on Instagram for risking his life for this footage. Success! Oh yeah.
We didn't lose it.
Yeah, I know, right?
I got scared.
Yeah.
When this thing went crazy, I got scared.
All right, we got one more battery on us here, so let's find flight location number 2. This is kind of an intense hike, huh?
It requires a good foot balance because if you slip and twist your ankle, you'll be stranded here.
Yeah, and some good hiking shoes.
Yeah.
Are you collecting trash along the way?
Yeah. Keep Cabo beautiful. And then this right here goes in the ocean and hurts my precious whales.
It's a hazardous hike. All this cactus everywhere.
Another one right here, and we got barbed wire going on here.
Dan's like, yeah, it's easy. Like, easy 20 minutes. I'll do it in flip-flops. And it's like, all right, if you didn't do it in flip-flops, I'm good. Look at this. There's barbed wire on the ground. Barbed wire an inch to my left. And cactus on my right. Ugh, I should have worn some armor. Like a knight's armor. Look at this view, though. This is dope. Hold on, stay still. Okay, go on. Little guys hitching a ride.
This is
the route,
street.
huh?
Yeah, this is it.
Okay. I don't recommend this hike if you're afraid of heights. Yeah, that's not good. And then there's cactus on the way down, so your last thought before death is, ouch! Huh. I can't read it, so I don't know what that sign means. Oh yeah, you're good citizens here. And when I say we, I mean Carrie and Dan. They're picking up trash while I'm just recording myself, so, you know, it's that. I don't feel very good about myself anymore. How the hell is Dan doing this in sandals? It's making me look bad. We're almost back to safety. We can stop playing that dramatic ass music that's playing in the background, making this more intense than it needs to be. All right, location number 2, shall we? Let's take off. crap. It did the dip on me. Well, we got some shots while it lasted. The footage does look dope though. So having that anamorphic lens on there is pretty sweet.
It's pretty cool, but right now it's too unreliable.
Yeah. I think if it was like calmer winds or maybe less aggressive flying, it wouldn't be as much of an issue. But yeah, I was just jamming it in one direction all the way. And it is definitely freaky when you're looking at the monitor and it just goes boom, and it just looks down.
I think it's the weight ratio still, and the wind and the speed. When it goes forward, it technically does this.
Like, it's definitely not gonna be happy in sport mode. Let's do a take 2. All right, welcome back to California. I had a little bit more time to play with this Moment anamorphic lens on the Mavic 2 Pro. Learned a few things. One, Moment doesn't recommend flying this with this lens in high wind conditions. And also, it's not really designed to fly in sports mode. It's more designed for those smooth, slow, cinematic shots. I've been able to fly it fairly decently fast in most cases, but then after flying it for a little while, I'll notice that dip. But Moment did say, don't be alarmed if the camera does dip. Can be a little bit freaky, but basically the battery is designed to prioritize power to the propellers. So especially when the battery starts getting low or you get a lot of high winds or you're flying really fast, it can cut power to the gimbal to make sure that the propellers have enough power to stay flying. Most of the time you just let it hover there for a second and just kind of fondle this thing around a little bit. It eventually, wakes back up. Fondle, love that word. But if it doesn't, you still got that map and GPS, so fly it way up and then return to home that way. But every time I've done it, the gimbal's woken back up. Sometimes it just took, like 2-3 seconds. Sometimes it takes like 30 seconds. First time attaching it, I was like, huh? A lot of question marks popping out of my head. But now that I've gotten used to it, it's just a matter of, putting the gimbal at the right angle. And notice how I attached that lens while the gimbal's already on. So now at this point, you can see on the top left, it says gimbal motor overloaded. So that's where you got to go into the gimbal, auto calibrate. And it's definitely important to do this gimbal calibration right. You want a nice, flat, even surface. And one of the things I wanted to test out is active track. Is it still going to work? Because how an anamorphic lens works, it kind of squeezes in the image. So what the camera now sees is now squished in. Everything's unproportional. But I wanted to know, will active track still work? Because now the footage that it's interpreting is off scale a little bit. It's all squished in and distorted. And the answer is yes, it still does interpret the footage and it does a pretty good job of keeping track of a person or object. But the downside is if that gimbal does start to do a little bit of that jitter that, happens sometimes, it can start to freak out a little bit because it's trying to track something. And as the gimbal moves, it assumes that the whole world around it is moving. So then it starts to like fly all over the place a little bit. And that could be a little bit freaky. I had a little panic moment there for a second. Or at least be kind of by your controller and be ready to, hit cancel on it. So the drone's not trying to chase something around that isn't actually moving. So overall thoughts on the Moment anamorphic lens is that it's awesome, but it comes at a cost. And I'm not talking about the cost of $249, or basically $250. There is that, of course. But afterwards, there is the cost of time. Because remember, you can't have this lens on there when it boots up. So if you do a battery swap, you have to power down, take off the battery, put the new one back on, take this off, then power up the drone, then reattach this, then run the calibration, and then you can finally fly. And you also lose a little bit of that reliability of the gimbal because you are way more likely to run into little issues with the camera in high winds or if you're flying really aggressively. So if you're gonna do either of those, then always pop it off. But in the situations where you're okay with this, I definitely like the image that this produces. I love the wider field of view. It takes away a little bit of that super sharpened digital video look and inches it towards more of that traditional filmic look. And when you're lucky enough to catch that flare, it gives that very distinct anamorphic look. So in the situations where I have the time to set up and I want to get the best cinematic shot I can, I definitely slap this on there because I do like the way it looks. Good news is that it comes in this nifty little Moment case and it doesn't take up much space, so you can just leave this in your drone bag and whenever the opportunity arises, you can slap it on there. But when the conditions aren't ideal, then go ahead and skip it. Anyway, should we wrap this up by reading a couple of comments? David Easton says, my New Year's resolution is to watch every video you post twice. David Easton, I love you, man. My New Year's resolution is 1080p. Why does he sound like Mark Ruffalo when he's sick? Do I? So this is what I sound like when I'm sick. Like, this is so boring. And this is what Mark Ruffalo sounds like.
That sounds great.
I don't know. You tell me. Oh, by the way, remember how my motorcycle was stolen out of my driveway a couple of weeks ago? Well, good news. No, they didn't find it. Good news would have been, we found the guy. We beat the crap out of him. But no, it didn't happen. But good news, insurance money came in and I got a new bike.